Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Olares Project, brought to you by Tim Unscripted. So if you watched the last episode, basically my model choice kind of failed. Yeah, like in a big way, which, it's bound to happen. This is the reason why it's a project. It's a bunch of experimentation going on in kind of real time while I'm recording these videos on my Olares appliance. And while I thought the Lagoon model was really going to be the right fit for this agent test track competition, what I realized, of course, was that it just wasn't going to work. Much longer context window, just not fit for use with the concept or the agents. And so this, what you're seeing here on Ollama, is a recently introduced model. Now, mind you, by recent, at the time of this recording, this is only like a week old. So if you're watching this, of course, depending upon when this drops, it may be several weeks old, if not a month by then. But what it boiled down to is I liked it for a number of things, not the least of which it's a soda for agentic coding. But more important, I think, is that it's got an improving framework that employs reinforcement learning. So effectively, this model, maybe through the iterations of work that I'm going to have it perform with the different agents, will actually improve the results. So this is like even putting a more dramatic twist on this whole concept that I'm building to demonstrate the power of the Olares appliance, the Olares One. So again, hat tip to the folks at DEC Labs for supporting me on the backside technical issues. I want to give them credit where credit is due because, in effect, in a lot of ways, if they were not supporting this effort, it probably wouldn't be moving forward in multiple videos like it is. I would be spending more time troubleshooting. So let's get into where we're headed with this run. So one of the things that I want to point out was, hey, I've already got this particular model running in the background. It's a safeguard. I'm actually going to take and spin up OpenClaw as a safeguard just to make sure that everything is still working. And it appears that it's working. And here's where the rubber meets the road. So OpenClaw is running in the terminal. So I've actually got two separate OpenClaw instances. I've got one running on the appliance, which is here, and is evidenced by the fact that I'm in the terminal. Don't need to go back to that. But more importantly is the fact that in Code Server, I have a second OpenClaw instance wired in. Now, what this means is the gateway that serves both this instance in Code Server, in addition to the external instance of OpenClaw, the external instance was stood up and configured first. And so that is, we'll say, the primary gateway. This is the second instance of OpenClaw, locally configured in the repo file structure in Code Server. And so it's linking back to that primary gateway and using all the functionality in the primary gateway. So that being said, I know for a fact that OpenClaw can read the agent contest file. Now, here's where we're going with this video. So I've already seen, and we can see that there's a chat thread. Hey, by the way, yeah, I can read this file. So now what we're going to do is you're going to see this in real time. I'm going to ask you a simple question. Can you read the contest task briefs? Can you read the contest task briefs? .md. Yeah, I'm going to do the right thing because I don't ever want to assume that I can read a file. So this is one of those where, again, this is a real-time experiment, and we're going to figure out pretty quickly. Oh, look at that. Got it. Oh, yes. All right. Now we are about to run the race. This is great, folks. I'm going to see if I can zoom this in here. Shoot. Boom. This is going to make it a whole heck of a lot funner. Wait a minute. Okay. What are we doing here? Oh, crap. Yeah, I just scaled up way too much here. All right. Oh, yeah, and that's why, because I'm actually zooming my browser window in. Anyhow, yeah, this is the funny thing. So this is a Docker container, and anyway, I'm going to have to do some editing to focus in on this part of the screen, and you can see, I mean, I've already collapsed a lot of stuff so that we have fewer distractions. Let me pull this across. Actually, let's do this. I'm just going to turn this off altogether so we can really stay tightly focused on what's going on here, with the exception of the floating navigation. So we are about to run the race. Are you ready? All right. So again, I've never run this. And so, I'm like you, I am watching this outcome. Okay. I'm watching this outcome unfold in real time, and you can see that it's doing a bunch of stuff. It's got a response here. So let me do this. This is the nature of Tim Unscripted, by the way. So, I never do anything that, I wouldn't want you to try and do on your own. So let me check if the compo repo exists. Yeah, okay, so agent framework am I running? Identity is still blank. Olares One. Oh, okay. So let me say this. I'm going to give it a series of answers. You are running this as yourself. You can choose to perform the work alone or add sub agents as you see fit. Okay. Yeah, and by the way, usually I can hit Shift Enter and it allows me to enter another line. So I don't work with OpenClaw very often, so this is one of those where I am kind of a novice. Well, very much a novice to this. So I don't think Olares One is really relevant. Okay, no GPU detected. What? This is a CPU? Oh, all right. Yeah, so let me do this. All right, I'm gonna, oh, holy crap. Wait, it's off to the races. Oh my word. Okay, folks, it's doing the thing. Perfect, so I'm running it myself. No special framework wrapper, just raw me, the OpenClaw, with OpenClaw tools. This is actually nice, less abstraction. Yes, this is a raw, by the way, this is a raw harness, folks. It's a model, an OpenClaw, and this is it. So let me check. Okay, this is all right. So a little bit of background on it. So this whole repository, if you didn't catch this in prior videos, this whole repository is an agent repository. Okay, I'm asking OpenClaw to improve agents in this repo. Now, I do want to say this. So there is definitely work being performed. It's doing some updates, not to distract from the output, but this is really, again, this is the first run around the test track, which the test track being the repo, the model being the consistent piece, Ornith 9 billion. And so it's going through the steps of, okay, all right, what do I need to do for task one? This, run smoke test SH. It currently calls one after another. So now it's thinking about what the improvements are, the step level output, which stage is running and executing it, failure reporting, summary at the end, existing behavior, and still non-zero on failure. Okay, so you can see that it is, okay, so it went through quite a bit of work. I am, this is the funniest thing. I'm just amazed sometimes at this. So key improvements. I'm not going to read through all of this. This is, of course, stuff that if you choose to do a similar, project, then, I'm not going to give you anything but suggestions around how you might be able to do this for yourself. I would say work with a pre-existing repo that you want to use as your test track, number one. Number two, find a model that will nominally perform in a way that's enjoyable to you to watch. And number three, choose, two or more agents, or I should say harnesses, that makes sense to you, that you really want to kind of run around this whole test track or repo update thing. So let's go step through this, because of course this is really the thinking thing. A step level visibility shows which validator is running before executing it, and clear failure reporting. When something fails, it clearly indicates what failed and with the error details. Summary output provides final summary showing pass fail counts and the last failure information. Cross-platform compatibility runs as far as this is a shell command or PostScript command, and updated consistently, and then backwards compatibility still runs non-zero on any failures. Let's go on tackle task 2. Okay, so begin task 2. So, this is really insightful, because, I'm going to have to go back and look at how quickly this work was performed. This is one of the challenges. There's not a good time marker per se, but that, given the model and the smoke test task, it wrapped that up fairly quickly. And we see that there's 3 files in the tree that are ready to be committed. Now, this one may take a bit more time, and I actually am hearing the fan below where the appliance actually resides underneath my standing desk on a, not a shelf, but it's a repurposed television console that it's ramping up, it's ramping down. And so now it's really, wow, look at that. Task 2 complete. That was fast. How long did that take? I mean, it didn't take but seconds, folks. I mean, it's just like, that is interesting. So the new fixture fits naturally into the repository architecture. Okay, so let's see. We've got task 1. And so we've got task 2, a deterministic eval feature for test-driven development cycle, and task 3, which is here, a local validator hardening for the factory changes. Okay, so this is going to be a pretty quick run, to be honest with you. We're at just over 15 minutes in the recording. Based on how quickly this went through all of the prior tasking, task 3 should be just as fast as task 1 and 2. So, and once task 3 is done, that's going to really conclude the video. I'm probably going to have a little bit more background conversation and, what this all might mean to you. And of course, my color commentary over the top of, OpenClaw actually doing the work, in addition to, kind of the summary of my experience here on video for you to be able to kind of reference to, especially if you want to run something similar for yourself. So the fact that all of this work and a lot of this, let's think about this. By and large, this is probably going to be maybe 10 to 12 minutes worth of total work. 15 minutes on the far side of it. I'm really, this is a curiosity for me, because I haven't seen something like this done before, at least on social media. But this is kind of an indicator that maybe, oh my gosh, wow. So we got a timeout. We got a timeout, and we didn't even max the token window. So, now that's interesting. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Resume. Because this is kind of showing up the same behavior I was seeing with Laguna. And who knows? There are a number of different things where it's like, I don't necessarily know what would be causing this type of response. So, be aware that you and we can't account for everything that might be going on technically with any one of our appliances, let alone the models running on them, how the agents are going to choose to execute, the type of threading. There's just any number of factors that could influence how quickly work gets performed, work gets done in these types of scenarios. And so this one appears, though, to be taking longer than what I expected. Yeah, so by video count, we just crossed over the 18-minute threshold, watching the work get performed. So, this is just one of these deals where I don't know, I don't know what's going to occur. I mean, thankfully, I can see the streaming telemetry indication that we're just over a minute on this particular cycle when I hit resume, but it's doing work. And we now have 4 files that are being updated. So the key takeaway I'm going to have at this point is that it appears to be crawling through the entire repository for task 3. So local validator hardening. Let's see. The objective: improve the maintainability and the trustworthiness of the local validation path for framework contributors. Okay, meaning that if and when this becomes a public repo, and I can't remember if it is, this is really to make sure that everybody is getting the opportunity to create things that are working and worthwhile, and of course trustworthy as they're contributing. So we've got the constraints: keep the validator runnable from both supported shell environment, and don't break the existing PR validation intent. By that, that's pull request for anyone who's not familiar with that abbreviation. Favor incremental hardening over sweeping redesign. Yeah, that is true. And preserve compatibility with documented local validation commands where possible. The local validator catches at least one meaningful additional problem class or reports an existing failure more clearly. So yeah, this is not bad. Okay, and this is suggested command validations. So, how it sets up and labels these is, it's really the agent's decision or discretion. So scoring notes, it rewards agents that improve and contributing factors. So, and by the way, how I end up running this evaluation is really going to be, it's going to be interesting because I am recording these videos as I go along, understanding that I have an end state, but running it through all the evaluation criteria and what that's going to look like, where that's going to be done, that is a kind of a completely, that's not something I've worked out all the details on just yet, but the goal is to make it happen. So, this is going to be, an interesting, overall assessment when I get the chance to finish the other 2 agent runs and, of course, have all the results or all of the repos and the work being performed completely lined up, which, of course, I'll probably be leaning on some of my colleagues to help me do, in addition to some of my folks at BEC Labs. And it almost looks like it's caught in a loop. Wow. Are you okay? I know you guys are seeing this, but it really looks like the agent's caught in a loop because it keeps repeating the same statement over and over again. I think I broke the model. I think that I broke the model, or at least I gave it direction that it cannot effectively execute. All right, so this is over 5 minutes in, and I think that, wow, okay. So, all right. Let's see if I can, wow. I can't even get out of the loop. Yeah. I tried to control C in order to drop out of the loop, but it's just, wow, it's really, it is stuck. Holy goodness. Well, so, okay. Chat. That was an unexpected response. That was really an unexpected response. Yeah, it just got stuck. It got stuck. Wow. Holy goodness. All right. Pick up on the last step you successfully completed and move forward to the next step in as defined for task 3. In the, what are we calling this? Contest dot task dot briefs dot md. Okay. Hard reset. Reminds me of the days where you just have to, couldn't control alt to delete. You just have to press the power button in order to restart. So I'm going to take a drink here for real quick. Kind of like humans. Sometimes we get vapor locked as well. Oh, what the? Oh, my word. Whoa. Okay, so I want to highlight something. You see this? That that might explain a lot right there. It completely blew through its context window and it did not compress. And that's scary, because from, okay, and yeah, run error, LLM, request timed out. Yeah, so I let it run 15 million tokens. Thankfully, all of this is local. This is a real situation. I mean, I could not have scripted it this way. Hence the reason why this is Tim Unscripted. So, yeah, that's, wow. I don't even know. This is the, okay, let me Control Shift C. Okay, so, compact. Okay. Oh, I really hate doing this. All right. You just blown through all of your tokens. Holy crap. I have no idea how it's handling all of this. Wow. Okay, so folks, this is the most unusual model response I have ever seen in working with models or agents. And I don't even know what to make of it. I don't know what it's actually doing, because this is the sign right here that indicates it doesn't have any more capacity to take and work through the context in the file. Yeah, it's stuck again. It is completely stuck again. Oh my word. Yeah. So I honestly, I don't know. I mean, you're watching this and I'm not editing any of this. This is, wow. Okay. I was showing a lot of things that I wasn't expecting to see. So, okay. So, yeah, I don't know. And now we're up to 3 million tokens. So I have no way of knowing how to flush the context window. I just generally don't get this. Yeah, it's stuck again. It is completely stuck. All right. Okay. All right. So this is one of the more challenging failures I've ever seen as far as a model is concerned. And we pushed in excess of 3 million tokens into 262,000 token context windows. So I genuinely don't know what to do. I'm going to have to do a bit of research, kind of wrap up this recording because this was not the outcome I was expecting. More to follow soon once I have some answers to provide. So I'm going to conclude that, okay, what we tried to do in this video is run OpenClaw with a model that I've selected to do this whole concept of, using 3 different agents to run the same car being the model around the test track being the repo. And on the third task, things just completely locked up. So this is where I'm going to end it. Thank you for joining the Olares project on the first test track run with a different model than what I had originally planned, and OpenClaw as the first agent. You have reached another. Wow, I'm sorry. Let me try and close this out again. You've reached the end of another Olares Project episode brought to you by Tim Unscripted, and clearly I have my homework cut out for me. Take care. I'll see you on the next video.